Supposed to be a Proverbs 31 woman, oh, that's what you said. That man misleading if he ain't spirit-led. How is him that you feeding? He's supposed to be the head.
Hey y'all, it's Perkyy, and in today's video, we are going to be reacting to 10 of the youngest kids who were sentenced to prison. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine being in prison. I can't imagine being in prison at an early age, at an older age. I just can't imagine being in prison, period. But we're going to go ahead and get into this reaction. I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to let the video kind of explain itself. Who y'all think is the youngest person that they got on this list? I'm going to say the youngest that they got to have on this list, I'm going to say maybe 14 or 15. I don't think it could get any younger than that. But I don't know. We're going to see. Y'all going to be a witness. So let's go ahead and get into this video. But before I click this play button, y'all thought I was going to forget. I just want to say that if this is your first time seeing me on your screen or you're a returning subscriber, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because it's nothing but lit content like this on a consistent basis, my baby. Hello, stop playing with me. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Like I said, 14 or 15.
Kids can be pretty
awful.
Like,
dang, get to the
these
video.
types take bad girl and bad boy to a whole other level. Check out our top 10 most horrible crimes committed by children.
Children? Bathtub girls.
Aren't Canadians supposed to be nice? I guess Sandra and Beth Anderson of Mississauga, Ontario are the exception.
I know that movie.
In 2003, the sisters, who were 15 and 16 at the time, were charged for murder when they killed their mother by feeding her copious amounts of Tylenol and booze and then drowning her in a bathtub. The girls actually got away with it for about a year until their neighbor came forward with evidence that this wasn't an accidental death, but a previously planned and thoroughly thought out murder. If you listen to the 911 call that they made as a way to stage the incident as accidental, you'll hear the operator telling them to give CPR, but the girls aren't following through. By the time the ambulance arrived, she was dead. Apparently, the two girls were fed up with their mom, who worked 2 jobs and struggled with alcoholism, being unable to give them the expensive things they wanted.
So you
Police
take her
found
out
out
because
later
of that?
that their internet search history showed research on how much money you would get if your mom died. They discovered they'd each get $68,000, which they could put toward their wishes, like a European vacation, a marijuana farm, and a nice house. After they gave their mom the codeine-spiked beverage, they alerted their peers on social media about the process of the murder, to which one of their twisted friends responded, "Good luck, wear gloves." Most of their friends agreed to keep it a secret, but Beth, the youngest of the two, kept bragging about how she killed her mom at parties and school events. This led to the police approaching one of her friends to wear a wire to record.
That's worse than social media.
The girl spent 4 years in jail before being let off early on parole. They have new names and completely new lives. There was even a movie called Perfect Sisters depicting their story. Let's hope that they're not getting any profits from the ticket sales.
That was a low blow. That was a low blow. The youngest sex offender.
An 11-year-old boy from Britain, whose name can't be mentioned due to legal purposes, is serving a custodial sentence for his multiple counts of rape and sexual misconduct. The boy pleaded guilty for raping the same boy 15 times, as well as 3 charges of inappropriate sexual touching. Reports say that on May 29, 2016, the boy accused was playing with a 7-year-old boy in his bedroom when his stepmother heard whispering over the baby monitor. Suspicious as to what could possibly be going on, she investigated, only to find the 11-year-old raping her stepson. The defendant immediately said, "I'm sorry, I don't know why I did it." The victim told the police that he had been raped every single time they played together and was told to keep it a secret. The defendant was put on bail, after which he touched a disabled 11-year-old boy over his trousers. When he was accused a second time, the boy again showed remorse and seemed sorry for what he had done. He said that he too was raped as a child and was still working through that. As of right now,
I believe him. What I've learned is that it's a way to say it. Basically, what somebody has done to you, you take on that nature and you do it to somebody else because that is a trauma mechanism for you. So I believe that happened. That's very horrible, but the whole point is to break the cycle, not to keep it going. But, prayers for them.
The youngest sex offender in Britain. You kind of feel sorry for him, but he really needs to pay for his actions.
Yeah. That's horrible. Brenda Spencer. Sup, Brenda? What
Every
you do?
teenager hates Mondays, but 16-year-old Brenda Spencer apparently hated them enough to end lives. At about 8:30 in the morning on a Monday in 1979, Brenda had the hunch to kill. The elementary school across from her house was just going into session with kids getting dropped off by their parents. She took a few shots from her sniper, which her dad gifted her for her birthday, complete with 400 rounds of ammunition. She shot at a couple of kids, wounding them. It took a couple of seconds before the adults on campus knew what was happening.
It was Call of Duty?
The school's principal, Burton Ragg, ran outside, helping terrified children into the school. Him and the school's custodian, Mike Sakar, were unfortunately shot dead in the frenzy. Miss Spencer ended up killing 2 people and wounding 9 others and was charged with 2 counts of murder.
I never heard of this
attorney tried
story.
to get her off on a plea of insanity, but that didn't work, and she's now serving 25 to life. People claim that her parents' divorce was the cause of her misconduct. They said that something died in her after the split, especially since her and her siblings were sent to live with their distant abusive father. I haven't been in that situation, she started to become interested in guns and metal bands like Alice Cooper. Brenda was given a parole hearing in 2005, but was unfortunately denied. She said in a TV interview that she was high on angel dust and pot when she committed the crime, but the toxicology reports say otherwise. She'll get another hearing in 2019 for potential parole.
That's
it's
what
no
she
surprise
looked
that
like?
she blames herself for the recent school shootings, considering she orchestrated one of the first ones in recent history.
Wow. Wow. The Xbox Underground. I think I know this one.
It's a bit of an odd career choice. 4 teenage Xbox players had their goals in sight as becoming professional hackers when they managed to hack into Microsoft, Epic Games, Valve, Zombie Studios, and the U.S. Army. The 4 boys from various parts of the U.S. and Canada managed to connect through their gaming networks online. The team allegedly used SQL injections as well as stolen passwords and usernames. The theft included software related to Microsoft's Xbox One gaming console and the Xbox Live gaming system. They also somehow swiped files containing data for unreleased games like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Gears of War. What's really crazy, though, is that they also hacked into the U.S. Army's databases and stole their helicopter pilot training software. The total property stolen is estimated to be between $100 and $200 million. The 4 boys were caught at the border when David Pecora, the Canadian of the bunch, and his dad were taking a trip to the States. He was taken into custody by the border guards and was told that it'll be a long time before he gets to return to Canada. The 4 boys will face up to 5 years in prison.
Was there any killing involved in that, or did I just black out?
Eric Miller, a chubby, nerdish kid from New York State, was only 13 when he killed 4-year-old Derek Robbie out in the woods. On August 2nd, 1993, the young defendant was out on his bike when he came across Derek, walking by himself to a nearby summer camp. Eric managed to lure him into the woods, where he tortured and killed him. He dropped 2 large rocks on the 4-year-old's head and then strangled him to death. He then stuck a stick up the child's rear opening in an attempt to bash his heart so it'll stop beating.
How do you know
He then took
how
out
to
a
do
red
this?
Kool-Aid drink from Derek's bag and poured it onto his wounds. Eric came home that day totally calm, as if nothing had happened. The police eventually found out, though, and on August 16th of the following year, Eric was charged with second-degree murder and sentenced to the maximum term for juveniles at the time, which was 9 years to life. Eric has been given a parole hearing every 2 years, but hasn't been let out since. When asked by the judge why he did it, he said, "Because instead of me being hurt, I was hurting someone else."
I told you. You take on the nature of the person that hurt you.
Amarjeet Sada of India killed probably more people than the average serial killer.
What?
He was only 8. This is hard to believe, but this killer's second victim was his own sister, and his parents ended up covering it up in order to protect their son's freedoms. His third victim was
His third victim was what?
6-month-old baby, whom he took from a neighboring house and then bashed with a brick until the baby stopped breathing.
I paused. I don't want to give out a spoiler, but it reminds me of a movie. I don't want to give it out because if anyone hasn't seen it, I don't want to mess it up for you. But it's a new movie that recently dropped, and that's what it's giving. Oh my! So what I'm trying to say is that these movies, y'all be thinking like, oh, this is really creative. No, they're getting these from real life people that lived on this earth. If they're not dead, or you know what I'm saying, like if they're still living. But this is where movies get their movie ideas from. It's from people like this. He took a brick and... Never mind.
Police eventually connected the boy's recent killing with the killing of his own sister. When he was asked why he did these gruesome things, he simply smiled and asked for a cookie.
Whoa.
His parents said that he doesn't understand right from wrong. A psychologist discovered that Amarjeet had a chemical imbalance in his brain that caused him to express conduct disorder, which is a mental disorder where the sufferer doesn't understand morals.
Y'all believe that?
The data is foggy, but he allegedly spent about 3 years in either a prison or a mental institution. He's now reportedly a free agent, walking around with a new name and identity.
Y'all be careful. Y'all be careful out there. Daniel, what did you do?
One British teen did the unthinkable. At only 15 years old, Daniel Bartlam killed his own mother in a gruesome horror movie-like display. The whole thing was spurred on by a fight they were having at home. She called him a freak, and then something came over Daniel.
Not a freak.
He began to hit his mother with a hammer, bashing in her skull. He then wrapped her in paper, covered her in gasoline, and set her on fire. He initially claimed that an intruder came in and killed his mother, but the police found a written-out soap opera plot on his computer that describes a killer bashing someone in with a hammer and then leaving them on the train tracks to die. It was also discovered that Daniel watched the film Saw just hours before killing his mother. At the hearing, Daniel claimed that there were voices in his head that were telling him to kill, and that he was having visions of doing these things against his will.
This is crazy. Mary
Bell was born
got?
in 1957 into a poor Liverpool family. She wasn't exactly raised properly. Her mother was a prostitute who was an alcoholic and rarely ever home. Reports say that her mother would often force Mary into prostitution even though she was just a young girl. She also tried to kill her daughter multiple times. Mary was a rambunctious, troubled little kid. She oftentimes would do things like burn kids in her class with cigarettes or hold them down and fill their mouths with sand. Mary's first official killing was when she strangled 4-year-old Martin Brown in an abandoned house. That same summer, Brian Howe was found in a garbage dump with an M carved on his chest, which seemingly stands for Mary. This wasn't enough to spur on a full-on investigation, though, and it wasn't until Mary and her partner in crime, Norma, left confession notes at a nearby nursery that they were brought in for questioning. When the detective saw Mary's gleeful reaction to Brian being taken out of his family's home in a casket, he knew that she was to be locked up indefinitely. Mary served 12 years in jail and was released at 23. She's now living in England under a fake name.
I don't know what this is about them having just new identities, like they're reborn again. Are you crazy? How y'all feel about somebody that did something that crucial, that sick, that wicked, and they're out now from serving the sentence that they deserved, and now they out with a whole new name and a whole new identity? All right, this is the youngest killer in Saudi Arabia.
One of the youngest killers in history. A 4-year-old boy from Saudi Arabia allegedly gunned down his father with his dad's own pistol when he found out his parents weren't buying him a PlayStation. The dad was apparently undressing and put the weapon down for a brief moment when the kid picked it up and started firing. Saudi Arabia has dubbed this kid the country's youngest killer. This might be a warning for parents to hold off buying your kids video games, because it could potentially lead to them reenacting that behavior, especially when that game contains violence.
He killed his parent over a video game.
A 15-year-old from Utah allegedly killed his 2 younger brothers with a knife. The boy had a history of acting out. He ran away from home for about a year. Despite his troubled disposition, neighbors of the family claimed that his parents were very loving and attentive. The family had adopted 2 children into the family, and these were the 2 brothers who were eventually killed. The bodies of the victims were found on the floor of the family home when the mom and dad were returning from a dance recital. The teen was found miles away from the house, where he was eventually arrested and taken into custody by the police. What's odd about the case is that the perpetrator wasn't raised in a poor family or abusive household.
They never are.
Him just snapped. So there you go, our top 10 child criminals. I can't believe some of these people are out in this world.
That's what I'm saying.
Spooky.
That's exactly what I said. Oh my gosh. So I didn't expect for this video to be, I never do. You know, I should start looking at videos first before I react to them, because this one was a little reckless. I'm not even gonna lie to you. 10 youngest kids who were sentenced to prison. I think the craziest one for me, if I'm being honest, out of this entire list, let me see. It's gonna have to be, Brenda was reckless. Was Brenda the one that just shot the kids randomly? Like, she was the first one to do a school shooting? It was her, and then the Amarjeet, y'all know who I'm talking about. That's the one that took out his siblings, and then the parents was covering it up for him. That's crazy to me. That's sick and that's psycho. Then what they try to do is they try to say, oh, it's a condition. No, he needs to be locked up. Lock him up and throw away the key at this point. But how do you guys feel about this? Did you guys know any of the stories that were on here? Were there movies that you know? Because again, like I said, they take these people's real life stories and they make them into movies or make them into fiction movies. So let me know how y'all feel about this. We can do more of these. I'm not gonna cap. Cause I didn't know kids was regular. I thought I had to wash my back with the adults, but apparently I gotta wash my back with 2-year-olds, because 2-year-olds is wilding at this point. But y'all let me know. But I love and appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Please go ahead and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me which one I see next in the comment section down below. All my social media is in the description. Come on, my baby. Y'all see it? 600K is on the way. Just want to say thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, because all of us, not even just me, y'all too, you guys are helping this brand continue to grow and evolve. And then double honors to my Lord Yahuwah and my Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach for blessing me with everything, because without them, none of this is possible. So have to give credit where it's due. But y'all know me. Y'all have a blessed one, and I will see y'all in the next one.
You can't bring me down. I know who I belong to. Yeah. What? I won't sell my soul. I know.